being a ragtag army. Now I want to talk to you just for a second about David and Goliath. Think about this. When David walked up into the camp, every single piece of the greatest technology of war for the day was available in that camp. Israel was a great mighty army. Saul was a great and mighty king at that point. He had great victories, had killed his thousands, as it was said. And so there would have been everything, every implement of war would have been there. Brass, bronze, shields, swords, spears, javelins, arrows, marksmen, sling throwers, every possible thing. As a matter of fact, there was probably ramparts. There were probably, what are those things that sling the big rocks?
Trebuchet.
Yeah, that thing. I can't.
Trebuchet.
Trebuchet, catapults, those things. All of that would have been on that battlefield. And so when David walked up there, every single possible implement of war would have been available in his hand to go out there to fight Goliath. But I want to remind you what he fought Goliath with was a rock. Now, if Jamie and I were going to go duel today, if we were back in the 1800s and there was a duel going on, and we walked up and they had all the stuff laid out, there's a gun, there's swords, there's knives, there's rocks. And Jamie got to pick first, and Jamie picked a gun. What are the odds that I'm going to pick a rock? Pretty slim. And over there stands Goliath, the greatest warrior the Philistines has the greatest implements of war that he can carry. He is well armed. I mean, just absolutely decked out. And all of a sudden, David walks up, and God did not pick an archer, a javelin thrower. God picked a rock. And I want to tell you this morning, oftentimes we look in the mirror and we say the enemy has got all of this great available warfare things. He's got all of this great stuff, and I'm just a rock. I'm nothing more than a rock. Here I stand, just a rock, but I want to remind you that a rock in the hand of the King of Kings and Lord of Lords has wrought great and mighty army. A rock that is anointed in battle to fly, to meet its mark, is an absolute anointed instrument of warfare. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9 says this, "For my grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in your weakness." Jump down to verse 10. "For when I am weak, then am I strong." So this morning, I want to encourage my heroes of faith and my soldiers well armed. Do not judge yourself so lightly. Do not look at yourself in the mirror and say, "I'm nothing but a rock. I'm nothing but this. I'm nothing but that." Because in your weakness, that is when God is made strong. There is a very real reason why David didn't walk onto the field of battle against Goliath with a trebuchet.
Right.
Because then everybody would have said, "Wow, look at the strength of the armament of David." That's not what happened at all. He sent David with a sling and a rock against the greatest military might that was on the battlefield and destroyed strength with weakness. So I will tell all of my heroes of faith and my soldiers well armed, I do not call you that because I judge you based upon your own personal strength and your own personal armament. I call you that based upon the anointing and the appointing and the election and the calling that God has placed on your life. I don't necessarily, in the physical, think that we're all great and mighty warriors.
Right.
But in the spiritual, I have a great anticipation and a great faith that we are warriors well armed and that we can and will carry the victory in every battle, because when God collects a ragtag army and he pulls a bunch of rocks together into one place at one time so that it can be a continual throwing of the stones into the camp of the enemy, there will be a great and mighty war, and there will be a great and mighty victory. So I look out at you, my heroes of faith, and I say, be proud of your stone status. Get ready, get ready, get ready for the anointing of God to send you forth into the battle for a great and mighty victory.
Amen.
A ragtag army. I can't imagine a better way to win a victory than with a ragtag army of soldiers in one mind and one accord, ready to be used by the King of Kings and Lord of Lords.
Amen.
So let's gather up this morning. Let's pray over the service with an expectation.